Welcome to Michael's Record Collection. I'm very happy to have with me from the band Imminent Sonic Destruction, Tony Piccoli. Tony, thanks for your time.
Sup?
New album coming out, your third. It's called The Sun Will Always Set. Comes out April 15th. Pretty exciting time for you.
Yes, very exciting. I remember when we released our second album, Triumphia, there was a 4-year gap between it and our first album. And I was like, that's never going to happen again. 4 years is too long, especially if we want to matter in the music world. Well, here we are 6 years later with our third album. I really delivered on that.
But you did have a live album in there.
That's true. Yeah, that was actually recorded in 2015 before we released our second album. And it was when we were on tour with Fate's Warning, and we played the Token Lounge, which is the local venue here in Michigan. And my buddy Nick Hagan recorded it, and he mixed it back then. And I was just like, oh, I don't know, dude, this sucks. I don't want to put it out. But then, like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, dang, dude, he's probably still got those recordings. So figured I'll just see if he's got it. And he did. And I was like, dude, remix it. And and he did, and it sounds awesome. So I was like, all right, let's just put this out there. So yes, we did have the live album just a couple months ago. So
yeah, cool. So your band, Imminent Sonic Destruction, it used to be called Mellotron, and I have known you for a long time, actually, since it was Mellotron, and apparently you guys have made the Mellotron company angry.
Yeah. So there was a couple years there when we were operating as Mellotron, even released an EP, and that was just like the name I came up with forever ago, before the band was even a real band. And I was just like, yeah, it's just awesome because it's one of my favorite instruments. And so like we carried that name on. And while we were doing that, our good buddy and friend John Kotzian emailed the guy who owns the copyright for the name Mellotron and said, hey, just want to get your blessing and make sure this is cool. And 3 years passed when he finally responded. And his response was, it was mean. He said, he didn't just say no, he said, fuck no. And like threatened to sue us. And it just said, this is really stupid. I can't believe anyone would do that. Like way over the top, of course, many years later. And so I feel like if we were to fight it, we would have won, but who has time or money for that?
Yeah.
So
I mean, you had umlauts. I think you had an underscore in there.
An underscore, yeah.
I mean, it was different enough.
No capital letters. Well, that too, but like, yeah, I don't know. It was just dumb. It was just like, dude, it's clearly we're not an instrument. We are a band, and yeah. I don't know.
Nobody was going to.
Pantera could do it with a car. Why couldn't we do it with a keyboard? I don't know.
I don't know. So the band Imminent Sonic Destruction was the new name. And you've been under that for quite a while now, and it's yourself on vocals and guitar, Pete Hoppersberger on keyboards and vocals, Scott Thompson on guitar and vocals, Brian Paxton on bass, and Pat DeLeon on drums. People may know Pat from his stint with Tiles. These guys, a lot of these guys, are they friends of yours from, throughout your life, or did you meet them once you got into music?
Well, I knew Brian before because of the internet. We knew each other because of a forum, the same forum that you and I had met on, YetsyJam.com, DreamTheater.net, and all those early pre-Facebook forums. And so I knew Brian forever ago, and he was in a band called Justify, and I jammed with them once or twice. And the rest of the guys I knew, obviously I knew Pat, I knew Pete. Because of his old band Space Nelson, but we weren't really friends. It wasn't until we were introduced, and again, Kagi kind of introduced everyone to my demos and said, "Hey, let's put this together," and that's how we came together. So yeah, I knew them, but I didn't really know them.
Yeah, and now you really know them.
Yes, very much so. We've been together for 13, 14 years, since 2007. So yeah, I know them pretty well. They're brothers.
Yeah, you guys seem pretty tight. Let's go back a ways and tell me how you got, like, what was your first exposure to music? Are you from a musical family? Did your parents play instruments or anything?
I mean, my dad played guitar when he was a teenager, like way before I came about, but not necessarily a musical family. My uncle plays drums or played drums in some bands, and I always thought that was really cool. But I was really introduced to music when a friend of mine, Jesse Shirley, across the street, elementary, late elementary school, middle school, he was like, "Hey, dude, check this out," and it was like Green Day, the Dookie album, Nirvana's Nevermind, that stuff that was popular then, Alice in Chains and like Metallica's Black Album and stuff like that. And that's when my love of music started. And then eventually I'd ask for a guitar for Christmas, and thankfully got one.
What was your first favorite record?
Nirvana's Nevermind,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. I would still consider it like a top album for me.
Yeah. Seminal album of its time, obviously. If that's when you were coming up, that's what you were listening to, because everybody was listening to it then. People that had been around longer, people that were just getting into music. That's what was. You couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting somebody playing "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
And I want to acknowledge the fact that most of my bandmates freaking hate Nirvana. But again, like you said, it was the time that I came up in, and that's what was popular, and hey, for a reason, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you go from there to prog metal into old school prog, or how did that happen? Because I know you like old school progressive rock, but you also like the more modern day progressive metal. How did that work?
So my uncle actually introduced me to Genesis. Well, okay, let me start over. I'm sorry, because you had it right. Went from like the alternative rock and stuff like that, and that morphed into metal, like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, stuff like that. Even though I'm not a real big Slayer fan, but still, that's where it led me to. Because I was trying to play guitar, and I wanted to play stuff that was increasingly more difficult and more guitar orientated. So of course, Master of Puppets by Metallica was like the shit for me, and then that morphed into Dream Theater, and then once I discovered Dream Theater, it was kind of like the rest was history. At that same time, my uncle introduced me to Genesis. He played for me Seconds Out, and we listened to the Cinema Show, and we went for a drive. It was like a late night drive. I still remember it. Like we were driving Michigan Avenue. We went by the Wayne Assembly Plant where your Ford F-150 is made, and we were just listening to it. And I just thought, oh, this is really cool. And he was telling me, yeah, there's two drummers. Like Phil Collins plays drums. I'm like, I didn't know he played drums, because that's how naive I was still. But yeah, that's how my love of like that old school progressive rock started, was with that. And then I think Transatlantic really helped when they came about. Like, what is this? This is their 31-minute song. And then kind of said, oh, well, see, if you like this, it's because they were influenced by Yes and King Crimson. And so I dove headfirst into all that stuff.
Nice. That's Cinema Show is my favorite Genesis song of all time. So I see how you were hooked.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So this is The Sun Will Always Set is going to be your third studio album as Imminent Sonic Destruction. And Go was the name of the EP for Mellotron.
Yeah.
I never had that, but Coggy sent me the tracks. He said, you got to listen to this. So yeah, same thing.
I think I might have a copy laying around. Maybe I should just send you one if I find one.
Collector's item.
Yeah, dude.
So recurring themes came out in 2012, Triumphia in 2016. But what I'm kind of interested in is your journey as a guitar player. Like what did you start out? Everybody kind of starts out playing more or less simple stuff and then branching out. But I mean, you're playing some ridiculous stuff now. So I want to kind of take that journey with you.
Like, how did I get to playing what I play now?
Yeah.
I mean, it just started. It's kind of like, well, when I write, I I have like a vision for what I want a song to be, or in the case of Triumphia, an album to be. And so like when I'm sitting down to write something and I start out and I got this riff or whatever, I build onto that. And what really kind of progressed me into doing some of the more tougher stuff. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some sort of virtuoso or anything, but like we still like try to push it a little bit. I've tried to push my abilities, and it's really during that songwriting process. So it's like if I hear something in my head, or if I know I want this thing to happen, like I got to do something where I'm hitting these crazy notes and I'm doing this stretch. I think of like the guitar solo for the song The Knife on Triumphia. I couldn't play like that. I literally couldn't play it, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so when on the demo, like I've just kind of fluffed it. But when we went into the studio and recorded it, we were working with Nick Morris at the time. He said like, no, dude, you can play this. Look. And he's a really good guitar player and he plays it. And he's like, that's all you got to do. And he kind of showed me. And so I did it. And now it's like, now I don't even think about it, but I just remember at the time I was really kind of pushing myself and my abilities. And so ever since then, I haven't been afraid to try to tackle something that's maybe a little more difficult. And for sure, like on the next one, I want to be able to show that like, hey, we are capable of really stretching our limits as players while also still writing songs that are catchy and memorable.
I think the first song that I knew about from you was Driving Home. And I'm not sure if I remember this correctly, but isn't that on like a compilation, like a charity compilation you donated that song to? Tsunami Project maybe or something?
Tsunami Project, that was exactly it. That was that was a home demo that was on that album. I recorded it at my dad's house when I lived there when I was like 19 or whatever. And Jesus, that was like 20 years ago.
I was going to ask, like, when was the germ of that song? Because that has been around for quite a while now, and it, it didn't sound like something you had just come up with. It sounded like something you had been crafting for quite some time before that.
Yeah, that was something that took, in the free time that I had, probably a couple months to write and then, record it and kind of fine tune it, and then obviously work with the band, and they added their flavors to it when we recorded it for both Mellotron and recurring themes. So yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, the Tsunami Project, that was cool, man. Like I said, that was a home demo that was on that. So if anyone's got it, I guess that's like a little collector's item, I suppose. I mean, there was a lot of cool songs on that too. So
yeah, there really were. It was, and you were on there with, some pretty well established artists. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about the guest performers on The Sun Will Always Set. You had Tony Asta, Raphael Weinroth Brown, Lady Luna, and Kevin Roble. How were they selected, and how did those collaborations happen?
Well, we'll start with the last one to show up as a guest, and that's Raphael. He, obviously plays cello for Leprous, and he's a hell of a performer, and he just really knows his way around the cello. I remember I was listening to like one of the mixes early on to Arise, the first song on the album. That's the song he plays on. And I'm like, shit, dude, we really need a cello at this part. And I'm just like thinking, who do I know that play? Well, hold on. I'm Facebook friends with that guy. And I messaged him, and, he said, yeah, absolutely. I sent it to him, and he had it to me back the next day. Of course, I just said like, I didn't really give him much direction. I said, here's where I want you to play. Just kind of do your thing. And so he sent it back to me the next day. And so you hear that. Tony Asta is the guitarist of Battlecross. Battlecross, of course, has toured the planet. And they have a lot of hardcore fans. They're thrash metal. But Tony is a good friend of mine. We played a lot together here in Michigan. Tony Huron, Don, Gumby, Brian, all those guys are great dudes. And but I'm especially close to Tony. Him and I have been working on a side project with Nick Hagen, the guy who produced our album, called Tritone. We've been doing it for years and have nothing to show for it except for some demos. But But anyway, so Tony was like a no-brainer. I got to have him on the album, and he was like honored to do it. So he plays guitar solo in the song Decor. And he's going to play it live with us too when we do our CD release party. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, Tony's a badass. Kevin Roble is the singer in my death metal band. And so for me, it was just like the song Decor is it's about like how awesome my friends are and my family. That's what they are, the core.
Mm-hmm.
It's real obvious and not as metal when you hear it explained like that. But so I wanted my friend Kevin to sing on it, and I had a part for him, and he killed it.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Luna is Kevin's girlfriend, longtime girlfriend. They have a band together called Lady Luna and the Devil, and it's kind of like a doom metal kind of like a cult thing. Really cool stuff. I played guitar on their debut album, and just hung out with Kevin last night, and apparently they're working on a new one. So did I forget someone? No, that was it. Yeah. And obviously Lady Luna, her voice is just, it's angelic, and it was perfect for Arise. And then of course she comes back on the song The Sun Will Always Set. So
yeah. So you mentioned your CD release party. It's a show April 22nd at the Loving Touch in Ferndale, Michigan.
Yes.
That's going to kick off a short tour. What can fans expect from the CD release show? You already kind of let one little surprise slip out there.
Yeah, well, all guest appearances, they will take place live. We're also doing a second short set of well, I don't want to give too much out, but we're not playing our own songs, and we're just gonna have some fun in that second set. So, but we're gonna play the entire new album in order, and have some fun with that, and then play some covers for the next one. But they're gonna be some really cool covers.
Okay. Tell me about this title, "The Sun Will Always Set." Now, was that just pulled from the song, or was there a theme that you had in mind here for this album?
So yeah, it's there's no concept to the album, but there is kind of a theme. You know, I like to tie it back together like Genesis used to do back in the day with like Selling England by the Pound. But the song "The Sun Will Always Set," I don't remember if that's what I wanted to call the album, or if that was just going to be a song. But I wanted it to be "The Sun Will." I guess it was album first. Then I wanted the message to be like, because you hear, hey, the sun will rise tomorrow. It's this optimism that comes tomorrow, and it's a good thing. We love the sunrise. Well, I mean, the sunset is just as reliable, and just because it's the end of the day doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. And it too can be just as comforting, I guess, is kind of the thought pattern behind that. Because obviously the song Arise it's life, it's the beginning, and the sun will always set. It's the end. It's death. It's being comfortable with that, I guess, is that. That's
some deep stuff, Tony.
I know, dude. I'm really deep.
But yeah, I like, and we'll talk a little bit about the songs individually, but I just love the recurring theme from Arise about, I'm here, it's okay, move into the light, and to give it one meaning, and then to invert that at the end is really, really cool and an interesting idea.
Thank you. Yeah.
So let's talk about your influences here. You guys I believe this was on your website, might have come from your Facebook. I can't remember. Who can remember all the things they do when they do research? But it says that you guys are into Genesis, Devin Townsend, Rush, King's X, Pantera, Dream Theater, and Meshuggah. That's a lot of influences, and some of them are similar, some of them are very different. I have to tell you, I hear in your playing Porcupine Tree.
Well, yeah, Porcupine Tree, Steven Wilson, big influence on, I mean, not just me, but like Pat lives for Gavin Harrison's work, and Scott just loves Porcupine Tree. Him and I do this thing a lot when we're rehearsing, and we've probably done it live a couple times where we do the Stephen Wilson point, you know, the thing. Uh, but but yeah, so in that list that you find online, there's a lot of bands that have influenced us, especially the other guys. I mean, a lot of that is like me, that those bands influenced me, but like I feel like there's other bands that the other guys might say, hey, you know, these guys were really important to me too. Like, I don't Scott might get upset, but like he plays Lay It Down by Rat at practice almost every single time. So I'm guessing he's a really big Rat fan. And Brian's a big power metal guy. Yeah. And unfortunately that doesn't really get to shine through in our music too much, but like he loves Pagan's Mind. And if he were here, he would tell you all the others. I'm not a big power metal guy, but that doesn't mean I don't have a big appreciation for it. But yeah, so I mean, that's the kind of the range there.
And we can only assume Brian's not here because he's in Facebook jail.
Probably.
Nobody gets kicked off more than Brian does.
No. No, really.
Let's talk about extreme vocals.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not your typical death metal guy. I'm not a I call them orc vocals.
Yeah.
It's what prevents me from enjoying Opeth more than I do. I love Damnation. I love the music they put out. But when you start going to, and I'm like, I just can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
I find it funny, and I can't separate that in my mind. You guys do a little bit of that, and a little bit of like these high Devin Townsend-y shriek type of things, and but what I like about it is that you use it for color and for emphasis rather than making it the focal point. What is your philosophy on extreme vocals?
Well, for us, it's exactly that. It's meant to be an exclamation point, or like this part's intense, and so it requires a little bit more. Yeah, like you said, color. It's just meant to emphasize and just kind of, yeah. I mean, really, that's it. There's really no other way to explain it. But like, yeah, I mean, I play in a death metal band too, and so like my appreciation for it is different than yours. It's kind of like a whole. You dive into that world and you kind of understand, like, wow, that's actually pretty freaking hard and pretty impressive that these guys can do it.
Yeah.
But as far as like you brought up Opeth, I don't know if you've heard their last like several albums. He doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, I've enjoyed some of what they've been up to in recent albums. They went like they had like a classic rock type album at one point. I can't remember the names of any of the damn albums because I'm getting old and I forget stuff. But
yeah.
But yeah, I have enjoyed those. But the thing about Michael Ackerfeld is he's got such a good voice, like his good singing voice.
Incredible. Yeah.
And I have always connected to music, non-instrumental music, through great vocals. Like you go through my collection and there are very few dud vocalists in there, you know?
Right.
So when I hear not just extreme metal vocals, death metal vocals, metalcore, whatever, or but also rap. Like I can't get in. That's why I can't get into rap, because they're not singing. I'm not getting that connection to the music through the melodic vocal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I certainly understand that. Like, obviously, like I feel one way, but like I understand why people wouldn't like death metal vocals or rap or whatever, because and it's not for everyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean don't do it.
People like what that's right. People like what they like, and it's important to be true to yourself. Does it ever hurt?
Like literally, physically?
It sounds like it hurts when you do that.
Back when I first started, yeah, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but it doesn't hurt anymore. No, I remember the song "Sick" has a lot of like that high, shrieky kind of vocal going on, and I remember playing it live. I would be red faced, out of air, throat done. I can't forget it. I'm not singing anymore. I mean, I was, but it was bad. You know, it would even go like, I would lose my voice completely. I ended up doing this like, you know. But no, not anymore. Does not hurt anymore.
Did you take lessons with a vocal coach for that, or did you just come to it on your own?
I just practice on my own. A lot of singing in the car and recording and just trying. I remember the first time I tried to like add a lower growl layer, like, and I did it, and I was just like, wow, I didn't know how to do that until I just tried it. So yeah, just a lot of trial and error, singing in the car, especially.
Yeah. I like I like it for a little embellishment. Like Riverside does it sometimes. They'll throw in a little guttural like thing at the end of a line to like really sell the end of a line. So
Right.
So let's talk about this album. You mentioned Arise, the album opener. This is a short, atmospheric opening track. You mentioned the vocal. It is gorgeous. This thing, like if you ever want to do a side project with Lady Luna singing, I mean, you guys would kill it. It's really, really good. Love the lyrics. You mentioned the cello. Is there also a violin in there, or is that something on the keyboards that is going on?
I think that's just key. That might be the cello too, because like the way we mixed it, we kind of like bounced it from ear to ear. But yeah, it's just keyboards, string sounds, mellotron choir sounds, and the cello. So no violin, not officially.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of some of these patches have gotten so good that a lot of times I'll be talking to a band and I know that some of them are making albums on a budget, and I'm like, those sound like real strings. Are those real strings or horns? Sometimes there's a horn. I'm like, did you get a real cello or a real trumpet in there? Nope. We did that with a keyboard.
Yep. It's kind of wild how good the MIDI technology is getting.
Yeah. When did Arise come up in the writing process? Was that always there? Or did you feel like you needed to come up with something to introduce the album? How did that kind of
I always knew that I wanted to have an opener, and I wanted to have female vocals open it up, and I wanted it to be like this really cool kind of intro thing. So that was always planned. I don't remember like in the order of writing songs when it came up, but that was always the idea.
I wish it was longer. It's really, really good. Like I'm just getting into it, and it starts to end, and I'm like, it's over. But it does lead nicely into the core, which you already talked about. I hear in this song particularly a lot of Porcupine Tree in the guitar style, maybe something from the Deadwing Feudal Blank Planet era.
You talking about Fledgling?
I'm sorry. Did I get them out of order? I might have gotten them out of order, or I might have the tracks out of order on my playlist.
Oh, that would stink.
Yeah, because I got them from the. I don't even remember who sent me the promo, but it was one of the. Yeah.
Should have been in order. Hopefully.
So
otherwise.
I can tell you, this is good podcast right here. I can.
Hell yeah, quick, real radio
search here.
Well, I mean. Yeah, because if it turns out that everyone that's reviewing the album got it in the wrong order, then we're in for some fucking shitty reviews.
I don't.
Well,
think
maybe not, but still.
I don't think that's true. Yeah, I got it from John Freeman, and I got to click the little link here to take me to the promo, and it's got the core second and Fledgling third. Is the track order supposed to be Fledgling and then the core?
Yeah, so the track order is there we go. That's not going to work out. There it is. Well, anyway, it's Arise, Fledgling, Source, the core, Solitude, Nightshade, and The Sun Will Always Set.
Okay.
So it's probably close.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I got one that was 24 songs from this band from Sweden. And they were all mislabeled.
Oh boy.
Like track 11 was really track 6, and it was just all over the place. It took me a long time to straighten that out. So this is easy. I just have to change the track numbers and I'm good to go.
Man. Now I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, all these people are reviewing it and they're hearing Arise and it's supposed to lead into Fledgling, but no, it goes into the core.
So Fledgling is the first single.
Yes.
And is that Pete on the other lead vocal on this?
Yes, it is. Yep. Pete's singing. He's got a couple spots on the album where he's the lead vocal.
I think he does a great job on this.
I
And
agree.
I like the interplay between the two different. I've always liked bands that can pull that off with two different singers,
Yep.
and you're like, it just gives you a different flavor, and then you go back to the first singer, and it's
Hmm.
I love that, and I think you guys pull it off really well on that. And I also like the group harmony vocals that you guys have really, I think, brought along from your first album to now. It's come a long way, I think.
We put a big focus on vocal harmonies. Like we try to put them everywhere, and we work on them a lot. So like at practice, you know, when we're working on these songs, Pete is usually the one who's thinking of the harmony. He's like, wait a minute, what if we did this? And he'll like map it out on the piano, and then we'll do it. Sometimes I come across a good vocal harmony idea during my demos, but a lot of the times it's finalized as a group. And like I said, a big focus on vocal harmonies.
Hmm.
So
Have you in your rehearsals or preparing for live shows, have you gone back to older songs and incorporated more of that into the original those original songs from the first two albums?
um not really. We haven't really changed much about the older songs. When we go back to play them, we just kind of we play them as they were. But even then, I like there was a lot of vocal harmonies going on. Not as much now, but yeah, for we don't really change them much.
There's a very Derek Sherinian like keyboard bit about 4.5 minutes into this song.
In
Uh,
Fledgling,
yeah,
yeah, that was on purpose.
it's very cool. It's not actually Derek, right?
No, it is not. It is not.
Because Derek is on Twitter every day saying, "Hey, I'll play on your album."
Yeah. He's also out there saying that he'll produce albums, and who knows? Maybe he'll do our next one. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, he's got a lot of practice.
A little
So
bit.
yeah, Fledgling, very cool. Probably one of my favorites on the album, I think.
Yeah,
Um, Nightshade is the 12-minute epic.
that's all right.
We get a new lead vocalist after you started off.
Yeah, well, that's Pete again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got this, and he sings it differently than he sang in Fledgling. He's got a little bit of a different, I don't know, approach, I guess.
Yeah, so that one is I think it's just a higher vocal range, and so he attacks it a little bit differently.
Hmm.
Cool thing about the song Nightshade is Scott actually wrote all the lyrics for that and the vocal melodies. Um and I mean, for me, it started out as this like 8-minute long demo song, and uh it was kind of crappy. Well, I mean, it had like the good parts to it, but it was just, it became a mess. Like it was just instrumental section on top of the instrumental section, and
Hmm.
it just wasn't going anywhere. But Scott loved it so much, he took it home and he wrote lyrics and melodies to parts. And then he and Pete came over, and like we recorded a demo version of it with all of us singing. Um, and obviously, like the rest of it got finished
Yeah.
after that. So I just wanted to give Scott a shout out for that, because yeah, it was
I'm
good.
glad you mentioned that because I wasn't sure what you guys' approach was to lyric writing, if you did all the lyrics or if it was a group effort or if different people brought different lyrics into the party.
A lot of times I'll start out with some lyrics, and I guess depending on the song, if I feel good about it, or a lot of times I'll be like, you know what, Pete, help me out here. I don't like this line. I think this line fucking sucks. What do you think? And then I'll tell him what the song's about. And actually, Arise is mostly Pete's lyrics, based off of what I started with. Like the last part is all that was left of my original demo. I see you, I feel you. That
Yeah.
part, that was me. But like he came up with the rest of it, and which I thought was awesome, because he kind of brings like um a more realistic touch to those types of lyrics.
Hmm.
And hell, I can't think of it, but Fledgling too. Fledgling was Pete's lyrics too. My original lyrics were complete trash for that chorus, just garbage. And I was like, dude, help. And I told him what it was about, and he wrote that chorus. And I was like, dude, you should sing it. Just sing it. Like, they're your words. And so that's how that came to be.
Okay. So Nightshade, I apologize because I didn't have a lyric sheet to look off of, but it seemed like just from hearing them that these are pretty dark lyrics.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Scott's like the goth of the band.
Yeah.
Not literally, but I told him what I see. I knew I wanted the song to be called Nightshade,
Hmm.
and the reason why I wanted it to be called that was, not you think of a nightshade, right? Tomatoes are a nightshade, but there's also like and we can eat those and they're good for us. But then like there's also other nightshades that are poisonous and will
Hmm.
kill you. And
Yeah.
so I explained that to him, and he ran with it in this kind of darker way, which I freaking love. So
Yeah.
yeah, it worked out.
It also struck me as potentially having another meaning in that, in sort of a like the gloom of night kind of thing.
I could not speak for what the actual meaning of those lyrics are. I just know that they sound cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
they
don't
do.
know. I'll have to tell Scott, like,
Yeah.
hey, you need to give Mike a call and let him know.
Yeah. There you go. I like the subtle bass parts that Brian has in the quieter parts of this song. I think it's it really kind of lets him shine there.
Yeah, Brian's a hell of a bass player. I don't know if he'll ever get the credit because like we rag on him a lot, but like he's the man on bass guitar.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you the, the big compliment here in that it's a 12-minute song. It doesn't sound like it is 12 minutes. So I mean, and I
Good.
think that's the sign of a good epic is like, wow, is it over already? It's like that thing flew by.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you. You made it. I just listened to
Yeah.
it. um, so yeah, then Solitude is a slower tempo song, and some gorgeous guitar and keyboard harmonies with a big epic feel at the end. I
Mhm.
can't tell how many guitar lines that you guys put in there, and I don't know how many you dubbed in there or how many you did different harmonies. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about that process.
Sure. Solitude. That was a demo from a long time ago. Recorded it in my buddy's basement on my laptop while I was between houses. We were moving, and anyway, so the recording of that, what you're hearing there at the ending is it's just the regular amount of guitars. I think there's only 2 guitars there at the ending.
Mhm.
A lot of keyboards, tons of vocals, a lot of vocals. I think there was like literally like 38 vocal tracks there at the ending.
Yeah, it's very
Uh,
orchestral at the end.
yeah.
It's very like I said, it's big and epic, and it's just I don't know. It's like being in a Gothic church that they're at the end of that song.
um, and it wasn't on purpose, and it wasn't on my mind when I wrote the song, and it wasn't on my mind when we recorded it. But like just the other day, I said to the guys, like, you know what, this is our Afterglow. The Genesis song
Hmm.
Afterglow.
Hmm.
This is our big ending, and yeah, so but yeah, what you're hearing just guitars, keys, and a million vocals. And
Okay.
there's some lead guitar there too, but not much.
Yeah. What did Nick Hagen bring to the production that differed from what you experienced before with Roy Z and Nick Morris?
Well, before I talk about Nick, when we worked with Roy, um, it was a fucking blast. He was just the man. He came in, obviously he worked with Bruce Dickinson and Rob Halford and has gone on tour, and he comes in and he was just a dude. Like he stayed at my house at the time that we were recording it, and we'd drive to the studio together. And this is obviously when I was younger, so there was like a lot of beer pong after the studio, and a lot of grilling. It was nice weather out, and but so what Roy brought to the table there was just like a fun atmosphere, and it kind of really, after he left, we had to finish tracking and mixing, but it kind of carried over. And working with Nick Morris on Triumphia was more of this like hyper pro, like no messing around. I'm going to give you a really good product, and he did.
Hmm.
What Nick Hagen brings to the table is he knows me really well. He knows the band really well. You know, he's in the band in Transient. We've played shows together. They've played at what's the festival that's down by you? They used to
Oh,
be
well,
up in like,
Rozfest is down by
yes,
me now. Yeah.
yes, Rozfest. So they played that. So whereas Roy and Nick Morris, they don't know Prague, you know, the same way that you and I do. Nick does, and he knows ISD, and he knows me, and so he knew what we were trying to accomplish right off the get go. He knew, he knows, you know, we're making a prog album here, and Travis Smith's going to do the artwork, and we're going to do this thing that's like just this big, bold, beautiful album. And so having him know that in advance, and then just being a really cool dude to work with in general, is just, that's what he brought to the table, was just knowing what we wanted to do and like just kicking ass. I mean, he did a great job on it.
Yeah. Source. I never actually tried to count it out, but what's the time signature on this?
I don't freaking know, man. That's what sucks about being me, is I never got theory lessons. I could count it out and probably tell you. Like, I actually think it's just 4, but we're doing like this. We're just doing like the Meshuggah thing, where we're doing a guitar part or whatever that's not necessarily in 4, and the drums are in 4. I think that's all it is. So
yeah, I think I always like Pat's drumming, but I think on this particular track it really shines for me, and it's got some interesting panning effects from left to right in the channels. Is that something that you brought, or is that something that Nick suggested, or how did that happen?
That was my idea. I did that on my original demo. You know, like the panning you talking about specifically. Yeah, that was something I wanted to do. I love that shit. So it was just kind of like, yeah, no, we're doing that. So
works really well. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that Pat's affinity for Gavin Harrison, because I think especially on your last 2 albums, it really sounds like he's been listening to Gavin a lot.
Yeah, he has, for sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But
No.
I think the other guy that, and you know, he'll tell me if I'm wrong, but another guy that he's taken a lot of big influence from, as far as, you know, other than all the, you know, Neil and Terry Bozzio and all those guys, but Ryan Van Peterruin, and I'm probably screwing up his name, from Devin Townsend's older band, you know, the Devin Townsend Project. He just loves the way that guy plays, and like he'll like try to mess around and play like the song Grace at practice, and like yeah, I don't know. It's I could be totally wrong, but yeah, that seems to me what is his big influence currently anyway.
Is Pat the dad of the band?
No.
No.
No, he's the oldest, but he ain't the dad. I guess it's me sometimes, because like I try to keep things on track, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Pat does sometimes step up and like, hey, no, we got to stop screwing around. But yeah, there's a lot of times where we're having a blast at rehearsal or whatever, and like I got to be like, come on, boys, we got to get back to it.
Papa Tony. All right. Yeah. The title track, The Sun Will Always Set, another long one at over 9 minutes. Beautiful album closer. Echoing the sentiment, it's all right. I'm here now. It'll be okay. Move into the light. Yep. We talked about that, you know, bringing it back around. And I think this, I'm not trying to blow smoke. I think this might be ISD's best song.
Yeah, so I got another friend of mine that basically said that same thing. And thanks, man. There, in a lot of ways, I agree. That song came out exactly how I envisioned it. And you know, I don't know. I can't really explain how it came about or whatever. I just knew where I wanted to go with it, and it happened. And that cool little outro was just kind of, that's from my original demo. And then Pat re-recorded the drum parts over it. We charted it out because it's kind of funky. But yeah, like I said, came out exactly how I wanted it to. And yeah, I feel like, me personally, that's probably the best, if not one of the best songs that I have written.
Sometimes I think, that's, there's you ask 20 people, you might get 20 different responses. That might just be that I gravitate towards music that sounds like that song, but I just think it's a really well crafted song. And again, another one that feels like it's 4 minutes long. It's like, is it over already? Come on.
Yeah.
Which is good, because then you hit play again and you go again. But yeah, it's I think you guys put out your best album to date so far, and I'm just curious as to how close, when you listen back to it, are you hearing what you envisioned at the beginning? Is it close? Is it better? What do you hear at the end of the day when you listen back to the actual CD?
It's 100% what I was hoping we would make. And I hope the other guys feel the same way about it. I think they do. I mean, we've talked about it, the vocals really shine on it. Pat's super happy with his drum tone, and Pete had a lot of input. Scott had input. Brian had input. And I think during the mixing process, which took some time, I think we actually nailed it. I think it's exactly what we were trying to do. And for me personally, it's exactly what I was trying to do. And when and I think about every aspect of it, I think like the artwork on it, I don't know if you got like that. I think you did, right? You got like the front cover or whatever.
Yeah, I just have the front cover.
Yeah. So that's Travis's artwork. And I remember emailing him a long time ago saying, hey, we're starting the third album thing. I want you to create something. Here's the lyrics. Create something that you love. If you don't like it, I don't want it. And so, like, I thought about everything as far as that goes, like the artwork, the songs themselves, and everything. So, yeah, this one came out exactly like I was hoping.
So somebody buys this album, the Sun Will Always Set. April 15th arrives, someone buys it, get the CD in the mail, pop it in their player. Maybe they got the headphones on, listening to it in the dark. Start to finish, they get done with it. What do you want the listener to take away from that experience?
Well, I hope they make an emotional connection to it. That's all the best music that I like. I've made an emotional connection with it. And whether that's like, the on the nose type emotional connection, like a band like Anathema can do for me, or just like, man, that song, those riffs gave me stank face. Like, I love that shit, just some sort of connection with it is what I'm hoping for. And if they listen to it and it turns out they don't like it, I hope that there was at least one song, one part that they thought, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Because who knows, maybe that turns into hey, maybe I'll throw this on again and give it another go.
I mean, the best music grows on you over time, I think. So, and I love that you brought up Anathema. What a great band that is.
Yes. Weather Systems changed my life. I mean, I was already an Anathema fan, but that album was just incredible.
Yeah. So, the best place for people to get this, your Bandcamp site?
Yeah, we are releasing it independently. Not to say that we couldn't probably get it on a label. I just didn't really. I sent a message to 2 people, and they weren't interested. So I was like, fuck it. We'll just release this thing on our own. So yeah, the best place to get it is online at our Bandcamp, imminentsongdestruction.com imminentsongdestruction.bandcamp.com. And yeah, this is the best place to get it. You buy it directly from us. And of course, it's available in digital formats. It will be everywhere you download your music. So Spotify, YouTube Music, or Apple, whatever.
Yeah. I want it on vinyl, Tony.
Dude, we tried, but it's and actually I did just find out that there is a place locally that can press it, but apparently it is 4 minutes too long for anyone
man.
Which is so stupid, because when we wrote the album, that was the intention, was to put it on vinyl.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so it's 4 minutes too long for most people to make it. And the other issue is back in January when I was trying to get this done on vinyl. The other issue is that there's like a major shortage in vinyl right now. And so like, even if in January we got it done and someone was going to make it for us, it wasn't going to be till the fall when they get it.
Yeah, there's a big backlog everywhere. I mean, and you get a lot of that with. I mean, if you're Adele, you can get it out, but
yeah. Well, what's funny is when I was talking to the manufacturers at the time, because I was like, "What do you mean you can't do a 25 minutes per side? That's stupid." But when I was talking to them, they were telling me, "Yeah, well, you can blame the shortage on sure COVID, but like the pandemic or whatever. But like also a big part of it is Adele and." And the other one, oh my God, the tall chick who sings about her boyfriends all the time.
Oh, Taylor?
Yes, Taylor. Yes. He said blame those two because they literally, their record labels bought up all the stock. I'm like, dude, their fans don't even listen to vinyl. Like, who gives a shit about them?
Yeah.
Really
stupid. On their phone. Yeah, unbelievable. I hope it does great for you. I hope people go to your Bandcamp and buy it. I hope they get as of this recording, a on sale $2 Tony vest T-shirt.
There's a couple left, man. That's old school.
Yeah.
Shit. And people, when they buy it, if you want to buy it, thank you for buying it. But if you like it, tell a friend, tell all your friends. And we all have careers, like we all work 9 to 5 type stuff, but like, it'd be pretty fucking sweet is to tour and make a living off of being a musician. So word of mouth right now. Let's do it. Tell everyone.
Yeah. You have a short tour coming up. What can you tell me about that? How many cities are you doing?
Well, we don't actually.
You don't? Oh.
Yeah, we were supposed to do a couple of dates before the CD release. But it fell through. One domino fell and then the others fell. So kind of sucks. It's how it goes. And we did like talk, we teased that we were going to do it, but yeah. And I think it even got put out there in our little presser, but that's how it goes. It sucks to say that, but yeah.
Best laid plans, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. All right, so Imminent Sonic Destruction's website is imminentsonicdestruction.com.
That's right.
And then imminentsonicdestruction.bandcamp.com to buy stuff, T-shirts and CDs and all kinds of fun stuff like that.
Yep.
And we need you guys to play because we need to get at some point we need to get a DVD or a Blu-ray of a show. Man,
that would be the dream. That would be the dream. We actually recorded our CD release party when we did recurring themes, and it just wasn't good. So no. And that night we actually played Metropolis Part 1 by Dream Theater. So like it would have been really sweet, but it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah. All right. So I know it's stupid to ask this question when you're just this album's not even out yet, but what's next for ISD after this?
Well, we have some plans. We actually just finished hooking up some recording equipment at Pat's house, which is where we rehearse. And so the plan is to write together, which isn't our normal. Normally I write all the demos and then the guys pitch in. So we're going to try to write together. We also have an idea to do a cover album because over our 14 years, we've covered a ton of songs. We, like I said, Dream Theater. We've done Iron Maiden, 9 Inch Nails. we did 9 Inch Nails for a buddy of ours, and so it would be cool to I don't know, do that. So it's just an idea, nothing concrete.
All right. Imminent Sonic Destruction. The Sun Will Always Set comes out April 15th. Self-released. Tony Piccoli. Been a blast talking to you about this album. I hope it does really well for you, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me on. It's been a good time.